Hi, I'm Renee Eichler, and I am with the Expanded Food and Nutrition Education Program through Ohio State University Extension, and I'm really happy to be joining you today in this virtual field trip to the farm. Today we're going to talk about protein, and our protein sources, both plant and animal, come from farms just like this. Okay, and this here is DJ, and he is being raised for beef. Okay, so that is just one of our animal proteins. Some other sources are pigs, which gives us pork, our chicken, turkey. He's not a very happy cow. Seafood like fish and shrimp and crab legs. And it's also plants like nuts and seeds, sunflower and pumpkin seeds, peanuts, almonds, walnuts, as well as things that are called lentils. I'll show you those later today, and more. So I want to take you on into my house, and we're going to make some delicious sloppy joes.
Welcome back, guys. So what we're going to do is we are actually going to make some sloppy joes using some beef. So again, one of our animal proteins, and we're going to serve that with some vegetables and a nice glass of milk. Give us a nice little lunch for the day or even dinner. And this is something you guys can make at home for your parents or with your parents. So I have my beef almost cooked all the way through. So you don't have to have one of these little funky like separators when you cook. You can just use a regular spatula. And so we are going to get this brown. We don't want there to be any red left, any pink, because then our meat is not going to be done. And there's a chance that we might get some food poisoning, so feel upset in our stomach from it. So we want to make sure this is all cooked. But we're also going to add some extra stuff into this to give it some flavor, but also is going to give us some more vitamins that is not something we get from our animal proteins, because we're going to add some onion and some red pepper. Now I already had these cut up in my freezer ready to go. That's something you and your parents can do if you have like a little bit of free time or after you get home from the grocery store, if you buy fresh onions and peppers, because it's just one less step when you want to make a meal quick, and these hold up really well in the freezer for meals. So we're just going to add in some red pepper. Okay. Now you'll notice I'm doing this too after my meat is almost cooked through, because even though we're going to be cooking the vegetables, it's still going to be what's called cross-contamination, meaning that the germs that's on the raw hamburger could transfer, or I should say will transfer onto these fresh vegetables and could again cause some food illness. Okay, so we want our meat to be almost cooked all the way through. Before we do it, and I'm going to add some onions too. Okay, and once these get cooked through, so the meat's no longer pink and our peppers and onions are cooked, we are going to add in the ingredients to make our sloppy joe sauce. So I want to talk a little bit more about protein. So I had said earlier when you were outside with me that our proteins come in animal and plant sources. Beef is one of those animal sources. This is what cows give us. And the benefit of our animal sources of protein, such as beef, such as pork, such as poultry like chicken and turkey, and our fish like seafood, crab, shrimp, things like that, even eggs that are animal sources of protein, is that we can get some iron from those, and that iron helps our blood stay healthy. Now, iron is really found in these red meats like our beef. And we need our blood to be healthy, because what that does is it keeps us from becoming what's called anemic. Some of you may be familiar with that term, anemic, and that just means that people have some low iron in their blood, and it makes them tired very easily. Okay, so they just always feel like they need a nap and they're very low on energy. I don't want you guys to think you have that, because a lot of times in kids, it's not anemia, it's you not getting enough sleep. So you guys really need to try to get that 8 hours of sleep a day. So put the phones down, turn off the Netflix. I know it's hard. We all have that screen addiction. But if you get a good night's sleep, you're going to be better able to focus and concentrate throughout the next day. Okay? So the downfall with our animal proteins is that they can have a lot of fat. Now our poultry, so turkey and chicken, as well as our seafoods, they are some less fat options, meaning they're leaner, they have less fat, they're lower in fat, and those you can even use in this. You can use some turkey in this instead of beef, and this is almost done, by the way. And with that, we can still get our animal proteins, get that good iron that we want, and we're not going to get the fat. Now, if you really like beef, so you like steak, or maybe you really like pork chops, okay, you'll know there's that white band along the side. Well, that white band that you see that's real thick and sometimes slimy, that's fat. That's actually saturated fat, and that's what's clogging up our arteries. So we want to make sure that we cut that off, or have an adult cut that off prior to cooking. But if they insist on leaving it on for cooking, make sure we cut that off before we eat it, and that's going to help us enjoy the food we like, without all the extra fat. Now, there's plant sources of protein I had mentioned as well. Nuts and seeds, so sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, almonds, walnuts, peanuts, peanut butter, which I all know we love. And I know some of you are probably saying peanut butter and jelly time right now, because it always falls up whenever I say peanut butter, someone says jelly. Jelly is not a protein, nor can you guys count it as a fruit. Too much sugar, sorry, okay? There's also things like our beans. So you might want to maybe stretch out this hamburger and use some smushed up like black beans or pinto beans, kidney beans. So the beans that we put in chili or we use to make baked beans, those are all protein sources as well. There's also things like lentils. Now I'll show you lentils when we're done. You can use for like taco meat. They're small, flat little things that kind of thicken up. And they're actually pretty good. And those are all protein sources that are from plants. These have the benefit of being lower in fat, okay? Beans are naturally fat-free. Some of our nuts, they might have some fat in them, but it's good fat. It's not fat that's going to be harmful to us like the saturated fat that is found in our meats. And with that, okay, you get also some fiber. Okay? And fiber helps us feel full longer. It helps us digest our food, so move it through our digestive system. Okay? And it can also help, keep some other things regular and on time within our body. So our meat is all done, and I wish you guys could smell this. It smells really, really good, with our red peppers and our onions. So now this is beef that we actually raised here on our farm. It's actually very, very lean, meaning low in fat because of the way we raise our cows. Okay, so there's no need to drain this. What I'm gonna do is we're going to add 1/4 cup of water, so just a little bit of water. And let me grab a spatula here. This is going to help us get out our ketchup, okay? So we got 1/2 cup of ketchup. We're just going to scoop that out, all right? A little bit of mustard. Now, I know some of you might not like mustard, and that's okay. I don't like it either, but it really is needed whenever you make sloppy joes and you don't know what's in there, to be honest, okay? So get that mustard out. And then I have a surprise for you guys. There's even some sweetness in here. We're going to add just a teaspoon. So this right here, this is a teaspoon. It's not very big, okay? Teaspoon of sugar. Okay? We know too much sugar is bad for us, but we can have small amounts, okay? Small amounts, and it's going to be okay. What we want to avoid, okay, is getting a lot of added sugar, extra sugar, from things like our drinks and candy and other things. So these little doohickers right here are really great for chopping up the meat, not so much for mixing it. So I'm going to sit that in my sink to wash later, and I'm going to grab this here spatula. We're going to mix this all up. Now these aren't going to be as sloppy as your typical canned sloppy joes that you get like Manwich and things like that, where you just pour it on over the meat. But these are cheaper in the long run because a lot of you already have ketchup and mustard in your fridge. And maybe you have some sugar in the house. And water, well, it just comes out of our sink. So now we have all the ingredients we need. So if we're craving sloppy joes, we don't have to make an extra trip to the store if we don't have to. Okay. So we got this all cooked up. It smells delicious. Okay. So we are going to plate this, meaning we're going to put it on a bun to eat. You can have a little fun too. I like to eat my sloppy joes actually kind of like nachos. So I'll grab like tortilla chips and eat them that way. And as I said, they're not super sloppy, but they're going to be delicious. Sloppy joes are done, so now we're going to plate them. So this might be a job for an adult. You did a great job at the stove, but holding a hot skillet might be a little bit trickier, and we don't want to get burned. So we're just going to put a little bit on this here bun. Okay, let me place that back on the stove. Okay. And you can serve it like so, and it is definitely sloppy. Okay. So we have a nice glass of milk. As you can see, I even made a mess on my counter. So we're gonna clean that up later. But we're gonna have a nice glass of milk, okay? Milk's very important, helps our bones, helps our teeth, and we get a lot of milk from here in Ohio. That's very, very important. And we're gonna have our sloppy joe with some mixed vegetables. We've got some green beans in here, peas, corn, carrots, and even lima beans. And I said lima beans are a bean, and beans are a extra source of protein that comes from plants. Got a little tongue-tied there. Okay, so just to review, we have our animal proteins, those that are eggs, chicken, turkey, fish, shrimp, crab, steak, sausage, pork chops. The list goes on and on and on. Okay. But we don't want to forget to include our plant sources. We want to find a healthy balance between the two, because if we get too much of the bad fats that can be in our animal sources, that's going to be bad for our health. But remember, it gives us iron to keep our blood healthy, which keeps our energy up, and we're not going to get that in our plant sources. So I do have some plant sources here to show you as we wrap up. So there's good old peanut butter. Here's some sunflower kernels. Okay, so let me bring these a little closer to you. Okay, kernels. This is the part we actually eat. So those of you who play baseball and softball, you probably have these in your bag. Do not suck all the flavor off of the shell and spit them out. You're not getting any benefit from that. Just a lot of extra salt, which you want to try to avoid as well. You got to eat the inside for it to count. We have pinto beans. Now these are uncooked, okay? This is a cheaper way to get them, but a lot of times you see them in the cans. That's okay as well. So we have pinto beans, black beans. It also includes kidney beans and chili beans and so on. And then these are our lentils, okay? And I told you they're just little flat things that we can buy at the store, and they can fill the void for hamburger and things like tacos. You could even add them in with your hamburger to stretch it out further. So I hope this gave you a little bit of information about our protein group and where it comes from. And I really enjoyed spending some time with you guys today. I'm going to enjoy my lunch here, and you have a great day.